What's up, everybody? Hope y'all are doing good. So today's video is actually gonna be on something that I enjoy talking about a lot, and that is how to deal with your emotions, especially the negative ones, because I feel like as people, a lot of us, we don't know how to feel our emotions, and we don't know really what to do with them, or what direction to go when we feel those emotions. And and that was me too when I was younger, especially. When I would feel a negative emotion, I would just run from it. I was scared to death, and even I find myself doing that now sometimes. I think as people, it's kind of a normal thing for us to do, to want to avoid pain. But if we want to grow and really become the best version of ourselves, it's very important that we learn to handle our emotions with dignity, with grace, and be compassionate towards ourselves whenever negative feelings do arise. And by the way, I've had like several people ask me, am I recording in a graveyard? And yes, it is. It's right down the road from where I live, and this is a family graveyard. So um, I love coming up here. I come here all the time just to walk and get exercise, and the weather's nice up here. There's always a breeze, and all the Spanish moss and stuff behind me. It's one of my favorite places to be. So I've started recording a lot of my videos up here. But all right, guys. Anyways, back to the video. So yeah, whenever we are experiencing negative emotions, a lot of times people tend to want to go away from them. And that's really only normal behavior. You want to avoid pain. Any kind of conscious being does not want to experience pain, myself included. But the thing is, y'all, whenever we decide to turn away from our problems and to turn away from our emotions, we deny ourselves, we abandon ourselves in that moment. And it's important in order to create lasting happiness and a fulfilling life is we have to be with ourselves at all times. You can't abandon yourself, because abandoning yourself is just as poor behavior as abandoning other people, because you too matter. Like, everybody thinks of abandoning others as being horrible, but yet when it comes to themselves, they ignore their own needs. They just ignore anything about them that they just don't want to deal with, and that's wrong. You need to treat yourself, y'all, as you would your own child, or if you had a child, or any kind of animal or other family member that you love. What would you do if they were experiencing pain? If they were experiencing emotional issues or emotional distress, what would you do? You wouldn't turn your back on them, and you wouldn't tell them to go find something to distract themselves from it, like addictions and other kind of problems that can arise from that. No, you would be with them. You would help them. You would talk to them. You would stay with them by their side until they got to a space and to a place where they are able to deal with it better. And guys, we have to treat ourselves like that, because when I was younger, I didn't know how to deal with negative emotions. Growing up, I was not taught how to do that. Whenever we experienced something negative as a child, we had to hush about it. We didn't talk about it. We didn't. And sometimes, I was always a loudmouth, so I would try to talk about it and would bring it up, and I was kind of met with more negativity for talking about that. Almost like anger, frustration, depression, anxiety was things you just don't talk about, and if you do bring those up, well, you're the problem. And I was raised that way, but as I got older, instead of following that path and that trajectory, I changed the way that I viewed emotions and the way that I deal with them, because I did continue to ignore my emotions up until I was a young adult. Like I said, that's what I was taught to do, and it led me to a lot of problems. Starting at 17 years old, that's when I began a drug addiction, and it lasted for a good, oh gosh, all on and off, it was for a good 10, 11 years. It got really bad at certain points with prescription pills, with alcohol. And the bottom line was that I, deep down, was unhappy. I was experiencing a lot of depression, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to deal with my anxieties that I was having, because a lot of people are also taught that mental health is not important, or that it's not real, and that is a load of garbage, because mental health is important. Mental health issues are real. They are very much real, and people who try to say that they're not, they are just doing nothing but perpetuating just false information out for everyone else to read, and to end up believe in, and it's going to create a lot more problems, a lot more unhappy people. So I'm here to say that mental health is real. And growing up, my parents, I had a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, but they never really sought out treatment for me because, yes, I'm a very spiritual person, but they were more, I guess, into the religious dogma. But to them, it was, you need to pray about it and God will take it away. And so, I believed that for a little while. But then when I finally got older and changed my spiritual path and what I believed, that's kind of when I went out on my own feet and I sought treatment. And it helped me tremendously because I was tired of living the way I was, y'all. I was tired of running from my problems. I was tired of ignoring how I was feeling, staying high, staying drunk all the time. That was just not the way that I wanted to live anymore. Because, yes, when I first started, the feeling of the medications and the alcohol was wonderful. It made me forget about so many things, and that's what I wanted. But over time, it requires more and more, and I just got to the point, it was like, either I'm going to quit or I'm going to die. That is my options. It's either I can quit now or I'm going to die of an overdose or something. And so I made up my mind to quit and change my life. And also, guys, when I quit doing substances and stuff, it was very hard, is an understatement. It was torture because I was forced to sit with myself and to feel so many emotions and think about so many issues in my life. I had to think about them in a sober mind because I was staying high, and it would just cause me to not care about them. But now I was in a state of consciousness to where I was with reality. And I really saw my problems for what they were. And I had to learn to deal with them. I had to learn to cope in healthy ways. I had to learn to overcome that. And the whole thing about dealing with negative emotions, y'all, is not to just cope and let that be it. No, it is to, in my opinion, find healthy ways to cope while you are also at the same time trying to get through it. And the biggest key, y'all, that I learned to getting through emotions is not running from them, but is to turn around and to go straight into the storm. That was the way that, and that's not what people want to hear. I know I didn't want to hear that. I did not want to do that. But if you really, really, really want to get past something negative in your mind, or something that a burden that you're carrying around in your soul, that is to turn around and go straight into the storm. Because running around, you can run around it, you can run behind it, you can run the opposite direction, but it still is going to be there and it's not going to go anywhere. That's just the way that the human brain works. We have feelings, we have to experience those feelings, and we have to get them out. And also, a lot of the things I've learned with experiencing negative feelings is there is a lesson behind them. You can really take a negative experience in your life that involved some real hurt, some real pain, and you can learn a valuable lesson about the situation or whatever happened. I did. I began to look at my pain as a way to learn, as a way to better myself. And so that's what I chose to do. I did not let it define who I was, but I just let it kind of fuel me to do better and to learn and to be a better person. Self-improvement has always been very important to me ever since I got sober. That's something I have been, dying just to do. It's to start a YouTube channel and be able to help people, and I really have put my best effort forward. But even guys in my life now, I have setbacks. I have things that happen that I don't deal with in the correct way at times. It's important that we take time. I like to do it in the morning to gather ourselves, to set the intention for the day, and to really kind of just sit in ourselves and feel grounded. Because if you don't keep yourself in a grounded state, then you kind of can get lost in your feelings and not make the best choices at the best time, not make the choices that you should that would help you to overcome those. So I make sure I do that every day, y'all. I wake up in the morning, I have my time alone, I drink my coffee, I always do some kind of reading, just in some kind of, usually some spiritual or self-improvement book, or I'm on YouTube looking at videos to in the same category, spiritual and self-help, and it really sets my tone for the day. And so that way, whenever things do arise throughout the day, I am better prepared for them, and it gives myself the opportunity to step back before I react to what is going on. What would be the best decision right now? And of course, guys, I falter, I fail, sometimes I don't say and don't do the correct thing. But even if you know that you did fail and you did not do the right thing, the important thing is to step back and correct what you did. Make up for what you've done. Really try to make it right. And so, you know, now, guys, my life, like I said, it's just totally different. Of course, I have my bad days, but I deal with them so much better. And that's really the best advice I can give anyone who is trying to overcome a problem or who is dealing with some mental issues, is that they don't know what to do about it. Of course, guys, if you have mental health problems or feel that you do, you know, of course, you need to go to a doctor. That was one of the best decisions I ever made. And I got diagnosed as bipolar type 2. And so that was a big relief because I finally found a medication and a therapy program that worked best for me. And you know, I want everyone to be able to find that and to be able to experience good mental health. But also at the same time, you can take your medication, you can go to therapy, but you have to put the work in behind it. You have to want to get better. You have to want to do better, because if you don't have that pure intention and that desire behind what you want, then it's not going to come, or it won't come in the way that you expect it to. It'll give you weak results. So make sure, guys, you know, overall, if you really want to experience a happier and better life, make sure that you put yourself first. Put yourself first in a way that is nothing but self-love, self-care, not in a selfish, self-centered type way, but just make sure that you do take care of yourself. Treat yourself as you would someone else that you love. And that is the best advice I can give for anybody who is really trying to live an authentic and happy life, because it was probably one of the best decisions that I ever made. So guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back probably in a week or so with another video. Thanks, guys.